Welcome to the Government News Brief. In the headlines, Housing Ministry settles on prices for its new houses. Efforts continue to give small contractors a better chance of getting contracts, more employment opportunities for those with disabilities, and female prisoners find out about trafficking in persons. Stay tuned. Daddy! Thanks for staying with us. Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Adams-Patterson, today announced that the Central Housing and Planning Authority, CHNPA, has settled on the price for its housing units. Tiffany Rodius tells us more.
All the duplexes, be it single or flat, concrete or wooden, will cost a total of $6.8 million. $6.5 million for the house and $300,000 for the land, Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Adams-Patterson, explains.
Each of the duplex will be sold for $6.5 million, whether it's a single flat, whether it's the elevated, whether it's the double story, whether it's wooden or concrete, all will carry the same price of $6.5 million. And let me say that the ones that were built from lumber, it's just about less than $500,000, the cost for building it.
The single elevated homes will cost a total of $7 million, $6.5 million for the house and $500,000 for the land, the minister says. The CHNPA had on display and for sale 2 single units and 6 duplexes at the Housing Solution 2017 and Beyond exposition held at Perseverance East Bank, Demerara in May. There has been a renewed interest in the CHNPA's housing solutions as a direct result of the expo, with over 3,000 persons applying for units. For the Government News Brief, Tiffany Rogers.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thanks to a procurement and project implementation community workshop, Region 3 contractors are now able to participate in central government-funded projects. I was at this workshop today in Region 3, and here are the details. The workshop is one of several to be undertaken by the Ministry of Communities across the regions. Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan explains that regional contractors, particularly small ones, have complained of being excluded from participating in government-funded projects. This workshop, the minister says, seeks to stop the discrimination.
This initiative forms part of the ministry's response to cries of both residents as well as contractors of discriminatory practices in the regional procurement system, and it aims significantly to reduce the level of non-responsive bids, to widen the number of contractors as well as suppliers executing regional contracts, and to improve the quality of work executed in the regions.
Participants targeted include small contractors, community artisans, and other service suppliers who may feel excluded from the procurement system. The minister notes that it is designed for their empowerment and to create new generations of reputable and reliable regional and national contractors and service providers.
These workshops are intended to promote greater understanding of the regional procurement process, to provide information on standard practices of project implementation, and building confidence for increasing participation in the implementation of the public sector implementation project by small and community-based contractors.
Minister Bulkan is confident that this workshop will have an impact on local and economic development, as well as the quality of life in communities. In the coming months, the ministry, with support from the regional administrations, will conduct more workshops in other regions. Paul McAdam now tells us that the Trafficking in Persons Task Force continues to build awareness, most recently among female inmates of the New Amsterdam prison.
Task Force Coordinator Oliver Prophet says the unit recently visited Region 6 and conducted a human trafficking awareness workshop with female inmates of the New Amsterdam prison.
We took into consideration that, for instance, the female population in the New Amsterdam prison, a lot of them might be there for short terms. Some of them might be there for instance, drug offenses. And when they get out, they might be still in a situation where they looking for finances, and a lot of the times traffickers would target females.
The unit particularly chose the female inmates given the data on the prevalence of trafficking in persons, which shows the victims are mainly women and girls. He says their chances of being exploited is far greater as they search for a better life.
Not to say that only females can be trafficked, because we know that anybody can be a victim, but a lot of times they can be targeted, and especially if they're from a situation where they have financial difficulties. So we thought that knowing that a lot of them might be coming back out soon, we want to ensure that we got to impart some information to them and make them aware of what could be the possibilities when they get out, so they can protect themselves.
Prophet highlighted that during the campaign in the region, they also received information which requires action to be taken.
Had some persons come forward and give cases of like they would have heard or a friend went through this situation, and when they think about it, oh, this might be trafficking in persons, or this could be on the cusp of being trafficking in persons. So we got them, the awareness that we share with them. It did have them to come forward with some of that, and also we did have some persons giving us information that we plan to act on in the future.
The awareness campaigns are part of a national plan of action for the prevention and response to trafficking in persons, 2017 to 2018. These include measures and activities to enhance the prevention of trafficking in persons, protection of victims, and the prosecution of suspected offenders. Paul McAdam for the Government News Brief.
Thank you, Paul. The Ptolemy Reed Center of Rehabilitation is stepping up efforts to ensure that the differently abled are given the chance to be employed and contribute meaningfully to society. Zanil Williams tells us more.
Nurse Renetta Hopkinson has been gainfully employed by the Ptolemy Reed Rehabilitation Center since 2004. She explains that although her journey has been an emotional roller coaster, she looks forward every day to helping children with disabilities.
I'm saying out there to the differently able children, as for myself and the other children here, come out, don't isolate yourself. Come out and get help from Ptolemy Reed Center, and for the others out there. So that's the only way you can know to get some help. My experience was very emotional, and I was inspired a lot, and it was very motivation and educated. So my job is to continue to help these children, even as though they are differently able like myself.
Administrator and Rehabilitation Officer Cynthia Massey says that one of the center's main policies is providing employment for persons with disabilities. Massey is actively working towards employment opportunities for more persons with disabilities to add to the 10 already on the staff. This was revealed during a visit by Minister of Public Health, Valda Lawrence. The visit was part of the center's 50th Golden Jubilee anniversary activities. Minister Lawrence expressed unconditional gratitude for the work at the center and committed to help with some of the issues affecting the center. If you're interested in volunteering and making a difference, then you should head down to Carmichael Street, Georgetown, and pay a visit to Ptolemy Reed Rehabilitation Center. You can make a difference. Zanil Williams reporting for the Government News Brief.
Very inspiring story. Thank you, Zanil. Tiffany Rogers joins us once again to tell us that the Ministry of Finance is preparing a fiscal plan to avoid what is known as the resource curse.
If the revenue from Guyana's newfound oil is poorly managed, it could retard economic development. To prevent what is commonly known as the resource curse, the government has a golden opportunity to redress centuries of misdevelopment, Minister of Finance Winston Jordan says.
The Ministry of Finance is in the process of designing a dedicated fiscal framework with clear objectives and priorities. We will also adopt a coherent macroeconomic management strategy that fosters inclusive growth and sustainable development outcomes.
Minister Jordan explains that Guyana will rely on a sovereign wealth fund to guard against the resource curse.
We will ensure that the elements of this fund are compatible with the developmental objectives of the government.
He adds that emphasis has to be placed on managing a country's domestic expectation in tandem with its resources.
People are already calling when we are going to start distributing money. So it is extremely important that we are able to manage domestic expectations.
The Ministries of Natural Resources and Finance, along with country representatives from Trinidad and Tobago, today participated in a seminar to examine mechanisms for saving petroleum revenues. The two-day seminar is facilitated by Chatham House's New Petroleum Producers Group. For the Government News Brief, Tiffany Rogers.
The Women and Gender Equality Commission made 22 recommendations as it presented the 5th and 6th annual reports to the Speaker of the National Assembly. Here is more from Gabriela Patram.
The Women and Gender Equality Commission presented 5th and 6th annual reports to the Speaker of the House, Dr. Barton Scotland. Dr. Scotland says though he is happy to receive the reports, he is unsatisfied with the House cooperation.
I must confess to you that I am not satisfied with the manner in which the report is treated, or reports are treated when they are presented to the Speaker. There must be consequences to the presentation of the reports. In that respect, I do not fob the issue. I think I must bear some responsibility for that.
Scotland explains that through discussions, he expects the House full cooperation in the future.
The House ought to be engaged in the recommendations of the report and ought to be engaged in at least discussing it because the work cannot be only done and presented and then it is finished.
The Women and Gender Equality Commission Chief Executive Officer CEO Diana Swan Lawrence notes that despite challenges, the agency remains committed to fulfilling their vision. She is proud of the efforts made by the government in rebuilding the commission.
The commissions need great leadership. Leaders who are willing to serve professionally, be accountable to the people of Guyana, and be prudent when managing their financial affairs. Persons who are knowledgeable of social issues.
The Commission made 22 recommendations during the presentation. Swan Lawrence notes that they are happy to present their findings to create public awareness on the work of the Women and Gender Equality Commission. Gabriela Patram for the Government News Brief.
Thank you, Gabriela. CARICOM wants culture to be one of the driving forces in regional development. Delon Sanko tells us how.
Barbados Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley believes that the creative industry can drive economic development in the region. The minister was speaking at today's 25th meeting of CARICOM's Regional Cultural Committee.
The culture industries, in my view, hold the key to the urgent diversification of the region's economies. We need not look very far to see the huge economic benefit of this sector to the economies of other countries.
The three-day meeting being held at CARICOM Secretariat Therkine will discuss planning for CARFESTA, which has potential to be an economic driver for the region. Minister Lashley is charging the committee to take this into consideration during their deliberations.
You are tasked in the coming days to deliberate, taking into consideration the heads of governments of the region, as well as mandates from COSAD, and provide your expert advice on the way forward for the sectors and matters that have commanded our attention on the regional cultural agenda.
CARICOM Regional Cultural Committee has been instrumental in shaping cultural policy at national and regional level by advising cultural ministers to infuse the regional cultural program with new ideas and initiative. Delon Sanko for the Government News Brief.
Thank you, Delon. And now for the weather. Cloudy skies with light to moderate showers can be expected throughout Guyana. Some areas can expect possible isolated thunder showers. Water accumulation or flooding are likely in low-lying areas and those with poor drainage. Hilly areas are likely to experience possible landslides. Low tide will be at about 8 p.m. or 20 hours, while high tide will be at about 2 in the morning at about 3 meters. Above normal high tides is in effect until Thursday, June 29, 2017. Thanks for watching. Visit gina.gov.gy for more news and information 24/7. We're also on Facebook and YouTube, and the links are on the screen. Do remember to join us tomorrow. Goodbye.